What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another Steelers Saturday Sit Down with Around the 412. I'm Smitty. That is Tyler of Around the 412. Tyler, it is Bears week, an opponent that we don't see very often. But in Chicago, this team, Pittsburgh Steelers, have not had much success. They've only won there one time in the history of this franchise. It was in overtime in the 90s. However, on the opposite end of that, the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, nobody has more ownership of the Chicago Bears besides maybe the House McCaskey family. How we doing? What are our first thoughts on this matchup?
This matchup is pretty interesting to me. I feel like it's a very winnable game for sure for the Steelers, but also a game that could get away from them if they don't play smart and they don't play sound football. There's some talented players on Chicago, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I really like Rome Odunze. Caleb Williams is still developing as a quarterback, but I think that he's on a good trajectory right now. I think that year 1 to year 2, you have seen somewhat of a jump, and I think that just because he's not a Pro Bowler right now, that does not mean that he's a bust as a quarterback, even a first overall quarterback. I think that that's a normal trajectory to have, and especially a guy that you threw in as a starter right away. So, I mean, he could definitely burn you. You've seen at times with his escapability too, that he's able to do it with his legs as well as his arm. Still some things with him, holds on to the football a long time. But his completion percentage is not great, but I think that the Bears offense is something that could burn you if you're not sound defensively. And then I look at the opposite side of the football, and I look at what the Bears are dealing with in their linebacker room. You and I could be starting for the Chicago Bears tomorrow in the linebacker room. I mean, all three of their starting linebackers out, and every single person that is taking their place, I've never heard of. I'm not convinced that they've never played football anymore. And
never heard of Ruben Hippolyte, 4th-round rookie out of Maryland.
Hippolyte,
that's probably their number one guy.
Hippolyte sounds like some sort of drink that you would drink for a disease that you have. So no, I've never heard of him. It sounds like somebody that just got off the street of Chicago.
Sorry, honey, they didn't have any Pedialyte. I had to go with Hippolyte.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing, though. Yeah,
yeah, basically.
I'll be honest. So going back, like when I go back and watch the Chicago Bears offensive tape, I was talking about this week with Alan. The most impressive person to me is the head coach, Ben Johnson, because guys are steamed open consistently, even when their offense isn't putting up massive numbers, making it seem like a struggle for them offensively. It's not because of guys not being open. He's done a great job all season of scheming up for those guys. So I think Ben Johnson's had a excellent year 1 as the Chicago Bears head coach. You look at 7-3 though. If you watch this team, that seems like mirage-y. Like, I don't want to say that they are a pretender or they're frauds, because they're overachieving where I think we thought they would be. Like, but if you look at their wins this year, their wins are against pretty much everybody that's in competition for the number 1 overall pick. Like, teams that are all be picking the top 5 besides the Dallas Cowboys. And at that point in time, that was a different Cowboys team. If they played again right now, I don't know that I would predict that same result to happen. Quinnen Williams was not in the fold, obviously, for Dallas at the time. I just think it was a different team. So, and defensively, you mentioned the linebackers. Even with those guys, they have not been able to stop the run pretty much all year. They already did some players back in their secondary, and the one thing they have done very well, I mean, better than literally anybody else in the league, is taking the football away. We know Steelers' offensive approach is to limit that as much. I mean, that's every team in the NFL, right? But certainly even more so with the Steelers, it's emphasized we can't turn the football over. But that is one thing Chicago has done very well, regardless of the personnel that's been in there. They have 3 guys that are in the top 5 of interceptions, although one of them will not be at their disposal with Edmonds out of the lineup for this one. Let's start, since we're already talking about it, Steelers offense going against this defense. I feel like the Steelers should be able to run the football. And Jaylen Warren, who got hurt in the last game, is going to play in this one, obviously. But I do think we could see, maybe to people's frustrations, Kenny Gainwell even more than we see Jaylen Warren in this one. I think that they both could have very good games in this one. We'll get to my bold prediction does include the running backs, by the way. But I just look at, what's there with the linebackers. I don't like the fronts. I don't think that they can rush the passer. I don't think they're great setting the edge either. I don't think that their secondary is necessarily great tacklers top to bottom. The Steelers should be able to run the football against this team for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I feel like it's funny because we have talked about so much this year. We're having similar conversations about the defenses that the Steelers have been going up against, but it just plays out to the way where we keep talking about how it should be a good day for the running backs and it should be a good day for the tight ends. And based off of what we're seeing with the Bears defense right now, I would say pretty much the same thing. Like, I agree with you 100%. I think the Steelers they want to run the football. We've seen that. And I think that against defenses where they can, they do it very effectively. And I actually agree with you based off of, I know Jaylen Warren came back in the second half of last week's game, but I don't necessarily think that he would be 100% healthy looking at his injury. I don't know if I know you said that you hadn't even seen the replay of it, whenever it happened. I don't know if since then you've seen it, but it's just a weird twist of his leg and the injury. He came back, but something that you still want to caution about. So if you do see
came back,
more
but then he
Gainwell,
left again.
Right. So if you see more Kenneth Gainwell, I think that would make sense. Maybe you do see we've been clamoring for a extended look at Caleb Johnson outside of just a couple plays. Maybe you see more run with him. But yeah, I think this Bears defense offers a lot of success to have on the ground. Like their defensive line front, I don't really think is that great. And we just mentioned how their linebackers are non-existent in this game because they've got guys like what was the name? Ruben Hippolyte, Amen, Ogbog Mbinga or Mbinga. And this is, listen, no disrespect to Amen, but I have no idea how to say your last name.
Yeah,
there's a lot of letters. There's a lot of there's a lot of vowels. Yeah, it's a mouthful for sure. But I think that the one area where the Bears defense could find some success is in their coverage. Like you mentioned, how their secondary not really willing tacklers, but I think that they're getting a healthy secondary back in this one. So maybe the wide receivers don't see that much success in this one, or as much as Steeler fans would like. But that's the one area where I feel like the Steelers offense might have a little bit of trouble against this Bears defense is actually in the coverage with their wide receivers. But anything over the middle, looking at the linebacker, state of the linebacker room, like we talk about all the time, how tight ends should have a big day. We look at what a guy like Darnell Washington was able to do this past week against Cincinnati. I think that he should definitely be able to replicate that even more so in this one, because you've got you and me in that linebacker room covering him.
Who's covering him? Who's accounting for him in the run game? I mean, Darnell Washington should be a very important player tomorrow against the Chicago Bears team.
Yeah, 100%. And so that leads me to believe that we're going to see a very similar Steelers approach that we've seen a lot of the time this year, where it's going to be very pass heavy, very, very heavy personnel. And you're going to be, when I say pass heavy, I mean pass heavy to the tight ends, and you're going to be running the football a lot. And maybe that leads to not a ton of involvement with Calvin Austin and DK Metcalf, and you might not see the box score numbers that you would like to see from those guys. But I just think that this Bears defense lends you a opportunity where you don't really have to get them involved. And I still think that you're going to have success moving the football just as easily with the other guys.
Yeah, so they're probably going to have to use their safeties to cover the tight ends because of what's going on with the linebackers. So you're talking about Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, who I think can do that. They have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson on the roster as well, who's played some slot for them without Kyler Gordon. But if they get him back, they can obviously use him in a different way as well. So I think they're going to have to use secondary players. But then from a size perspective, obviously the Steelers tight ends are going to have the advantage. So I think that there's a mismatch to be had there regardless. You mentioned, the coverage plan for the wide receivers. I think DK Metcalf is obviously going to be the point of emphasis. Nobody else really strikes a ton of fear in you within the Steelers wide receiver room outside of him. So with Jalen Johnson back in the fold, I would assume that he sees a lot of DK Metcalf. What's the plan outside of that from a coverage perspective for the Bears covering the Steelers wide receivers? I'll be honest, I feel differently than I did earlier in the week about this. I don't know if I said it on Around the 412, but certainly on Afternoon Drive. I felt like this was going to be a week where predictively we did see MVS get a helmet. not feeling that same way. I just haven't really heard much about it. I think they're going to need other, like Alex Highsmith doubtful, so you assume DeMarvin Leal's getting another elevation there. Might need somebody on the defensive line. Cam Hayward's going to play, but if he is dealing with something with his ankle, being in a boot, they might need another defensive line body, especially because like this Bears team wants to run the football. So you're going to play a lot of base. You're going to need heavier guys up front. So I just think the helmet math probably isn't there for MVS to get a helmet. So I am curious what other, if they take DK Metcalf out of this, you mentioned the tight ends. I'd agree. Maybe the running backs out of the backfield. Kenny Gainwell led them in receiving last week. I'm trying to find that second receiver with the way that the Bears are probably going to attack the coverage plan.
To be honest, I feel like the second receiver is going to end up being one of those tight ends.
Gainwell, like, Darnell, or Pat.
Tight ends or somebody out of the backfield. Like, how many yards did Gainwell have out of the backfield this week? Like 80 something.
I thought it was 7 for 81, something like that.
Yeah, so that's why I said, like, I don't necessarily think that the Steelers offense is going to see a ton of action from their receivers in this one. And it's not because I don't think that they should, but there's just so much opportunity to have the rest of the attack from the other guys. Like, I think that Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell could have huge days. They both could have great days on the ground, or one has a great game on the ground and one has a great day through the air. And then the tight ends, we've seen at times how these tight ends can take over a game. You've seen it with Pat. You've seen it with Darnell. Yet to see it really with Jonnu Smith, but we also touched on.
I think Joe mentioned in this here, honestly, is probably the way for Jonnu to be that guy.
Yeah.
Not good screen team, but if you were to do some tight end screens, Jonnu's the guy in the room that you would do that with. Last week, 5 targets, 0 receptions. There was only really one opportunity, and it wasn't on the target that he got. Mason decided to throw to DK, but Jonnu was like wide open in the middle of the field. Outside of that, like, we're not seeing Jonnu beat man right now. I don't know what's going on where like he doesn't seem to be on the same page. Like, he's not getting in the right spots. The only way they're able to get him the ball is if it's like behind or at the line of scrimmage. Well, tight end screens. Then when he does get the ball in his hands, he's pretty good with the ball in his hands. Like, he turns into a runner and is pretty effective that way. This would be the way I think that you could potentially get something out of Jonnu.
I agree. And we talked about how you kind of have to scheme him open right now, which is a disappointing thing at this point in the season, that he's not beating that man coverage. But a screen would be a good way to do it. It gives him the flexibility to, once he gets the football in his hands, as long as the blocking is good, he can make something out of that. So that would be a good way to get him involved in this one too. I really feel like we're going to see another repeat performance from one of the tight ends again. Like, whether that is Darnell, Pat, like, somebody is going to eat in this one. The middle of the field's going to be open, I feel like, more often than not because of their linebackers. You mentioned how the safety usage, like, they're going to have to help with the tight ends. I mean, their safeties. I think that Jaquan Brisker is a good player. I liked him coming out of Penn State, and then Kevin Byard is a fine player as well.
I thought his career was over, though. I thought Byard's career was over when he left Tennessee. It looked like he was done. Now he's like leading the league in picks.
Yeah, I think he's a good player too, but you look at the matchup that they would have in those scenarios. Brisker's a little bit bigger, 6'1", but Byard is 5'11". Imagine him getting on either Pat or Darnell more so. I don't find the Bears having a lot of success if that's the game plan that they have to roll with, which is why I think that the Steelers are going to be effectively moving the football. And, I mean, maybe they don't have it as many drives because they are running the football pretty handedly in this one, and that causes for, like, shorter amount of the amount of drives to go down in the shorter time in the game. But I still think that when the Steelers have the football, they should be set up to have success and move efficiently in this one.
And they don't have like elite edge rushers either. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy to me that they lead the lead in turnovers. Like, it's crazy to say. I understand, Kevin Byard's always been a ball hawk. Edmonds is one of the best at the linebacker position and taking it away. But, like, it's crazy with all the injuries they've had and the fact they don't have a pass rush, because that's typically where turnovers are generated from. Whether it's them, with a strip sack or whatever it be, forcing fumbles, or the pressure that they are generating, causing a poor throw, turning into an interception. It typically starts with a pass rush, and they have not gotten the return on investment, in my opinion, of the Montez Sweat trade. Like, he's fine, but he has not been worth what they gave up and then gave him a contract, in my opinion, at the time. So, we'll see. But I do like the Steelers' chances to, and honestly, Aaron questionable for this one. I'm like 95% sure that he's going to play. But even if it was Mason playing, I don't know that I would feel all that differently about this offense's team or chances of moving the ball.
That's actually what I was about to ask you, because we hadn't the entire time yet talked about the quarterback position, and I feel pretty similar. Like I think Aaron is going to play. I don't think that he would have gotten the questionable tag if he was not going to play. That led me to believe once I was put on him, instead of a doubtful or just not playing, that he would be going in this one. And but I feel the same way. I think that Mason Rudolph, what he would be asked to do in this game, I think that he would have success just like Aaron Rodgers would. But do I feel comfortable having a guy that's like 24-5 against the Chicago Bears in his career back there, despite the fractured wrist? I mean, yeah, if I'm just going off of a blind
I don't think they're going to ask him to like push the ball. I think he's going to operate similarly to what we saw in the second half against Cincinnati. Mason do offensively, to be honest with you. That's why I think it is a big day for the running backs and the tight ends. And if you're a fantasy owner of any of the Steelers receivers, probably wouldn't be playing them, including DK. If you have DK, you probably got to play him, but I don't know that I would be in this one. I actually am in that same exact spot. So, all right, let's flip the script, talk about the Bears offense going against Steelers defense. We've already kind of talked about the Bears offense and how we feel about them. I do really like the skill players. I like both backs that they use, Swift and Kyle Monangai, the rookie out of Rutgers, the 7th round pick, who is, I don't know if burst onto the scene. That might be too strong, but he's a really good player. And I think if he was in a different situation, didn't have DeAndre Swift in front of him, could be a lead back. And probably will be at some point here. Caleb, only 5 turnover-worthy plays this year. 4 of them have been converted to turnover. So honestly, probably a bit unlucky in that, with that being the case. Does hold on to the ball a ton. Definitely up there. Took a lot of sacks last year. We're seeing that cut down a little bit. Offensive line, not great. And we'll see about the left tackle situation. Not even sure who's going to play there. Theo Benedette, who had replaced Braxton Jones, dealing with an injury this week. Braxton's probably the better pass blocker, but Theo's definitely the better run blocker. And that's why they kind of made that switch. This team runs the football a ton. So if Braxton's in there, I like Nick Herbig's ability to set the edge. That's I feel like just because of how small he is, that's always going to be the question, even if he answers them, is how well is he going to hold up against the run, and he's held up just fine. But I still like the Steelers' chances here in this one because of Caleb holding onto the ball. We saw Herbert, right, who very similarly holds onto the ball a ton, 6th longest in the NFL. He switched that up a little bit. Like, when you're a special player, you can do that. He got rid of it the fastest in his career on Sunday Night Football when they played the Steelers. I don't know that Caleb's in a position to all of a sudden change what he does. And I still think we're going to see him hold on to the football because of that.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that for as much play action as the Bears use, like that kind of leads itself to happen naturally as well. So I think that the Steelers pass rush should have some success in this one in getting to him, especially with the tackle situation. Like, are they going to help Theo in that and have an extra guy over there? Does that mean that Darnell Wright's going to have to cover TJ Watt one-on-one? Or it'll be interesting to see how the Bears offense approaches that schematically, because obviously you want to help out the guy that is being put into that starting role on the left side against Nick Herbig. Nate's gone. Excuse me. But at the same time, do you want to leave a player one-on-one against TJ Watt? Like, I know he hasn't had the same success as he has as a pass rusher in the past, but I still feel like that's a bad matchup for almost anybody in the NFL if you're leaving him one-on-one against TJ. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes, but I do think that the Steelers defense should find some success rushing that at the quarterback. Caleb, he has that escapability, though. I mean, we've seen it several times this year where he can be a threat with his legs, leaving the pocket, and even just a couple weeks ago, seeing a winning touchdown from him in that moment. So I think that the Steelers defense is set up to have success. I don't think that they have to cover the same way that they did against the Bengals offense. I don't think you have to see as much like nickel or dime as you would have seen in those instances. I don't think that they have the receivers to really threaten you that way. Like I said, Rome Odunze, I like him as a player. DJ Moore has been, I think, overall a disappointment in the trade to Chicago.
I just don't know what DJ Moore's going to show up week in and week out. There's times where it just looks like he has no interest in playing. And honestly, I mean, Luther Burden should probably be playing way more than DJ Moore at this point. But Burden's like coming out of college, that was his thing. At Mizzou, there was times where he just like did not seem interested, and you could tell like that he always had to tell. You could tell if he was the first read. You could tell if it was a run play based on his body language. So they did a couple guys, I think, there that maybe tipped the cap, if you will, in terms of what's going on offensively for the Bears.
Yeah. So I just don't think that coverage wise you're going to have as many problems covering this Bears offense. And maybe you if you can cover better in this one, that leads to some coverage sacks in and of itself for how much Caleb likes to hold on to the football instead of throwing it away. I just think that the Steelers defense is set up for success. The only interesting thing about the defense for me is like what's going on with Cam Hayward. I mean, Alex Highsmith is doubtful, and we knew that, but Cam Hayward didn't practice all week, and then suddenly Friday in a walking boot. In my head, I was like,
he rolled his ankle on Friday.
I was like, is he doing his best Big Ben impersonation and going to come out on Sunday and still play? That was my instant reaction. But I mean, I think he'll be fine. It was just interesting to see that yesterday. But yeah, I don't see, especially the way that they have been playing since they acquired Kyle Duggar and moved Jalen Ramsey to safety. I don't really see a way that the Steelers don't really find some success against this Bears offense, especially if they're able to get some takeaways. We've seen how much the takeaways are important to the Steelers defense, and if they can find a few of them, that lends to the side of the Steelers winning most of the time. So they are very advantageous on getting those takeaways, but I think this Bears offense can lead you to some takeaways, even despite Caleb not turning over the ball a ton. But at the same time, I feel like, as I mentioned it earlier, this Bears defense, if you're not playing sound, or Bears offense, if they're not playing sound defense, they've got some players that can burn you as well. And Caleb
we haven't even
talked in one of those.
We haven't even talked. The two tight ends, I think, are a big thing. We haven't seen this yet. Like when we play the Ravens, I think you'll see it. Like Fannin and Njoku are two good pass catching tight ends, but Kmet can also block really well. I mean, he's a very good blocking tight end. And Colson Leveland can just do so many things. So like they have an ideal like 12 personnel right now. And for the Steelers, it's a unique challenge. We just haven't seen their ability to cover that yet this season. So while we love the move of Jalen Ramsey to free safety, while Kyle Duggar's been awesome, I think we trust Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen with coverage assignments. It's going to be interesting to see what the plan of attack is there for the first like challenge in terms of that, like two tight ends that can run routes, catch the ball. Also, Kmet can stay in line and block. He'll probably be the guy asked to. I mean, they'll leave him on. DB brought this up on Afternoon Drive just yesterday. Like they give Kmet some tough assignments. They almost like have him do Darnell Washington type stuff. It doesn't always go great. It certainly won't go great if you put him on an island against TJ or Nick Herbig in this one. So be my guest. Go ahead and try it a couple times. And I hope that that's the case. Did want to point out, Brooklyn asked about the Sean Elliott. I don't think that there is the thought that he's coming back in the regular season. I think they think they have a shot if they make the playoffs that maybe he'd be able to come back. They're not holding out hope that he's coming back this season. Logan said, just remember Slay is probably back. Here's the thing.
That's the comment I was kind of chuckling about.
There's some stuff. Yeah, there's some stuff that happens at practice that's not able to be discussed. I get told some stuff. I don't feel like we're going to see it play out how people have been putting out. Like, I don't think that we're going to see Darius Slay jump James Pierre, despite what Tomlin said. I think that there's a couple things that play there. One of them, protecting the vet in Darius Slay. 2, not revealing your cards before you have to. And 3, technically Darius Slay could start this game and then not play another snap and be considered the starter.
That's fair.
All I'll say is I don't even think he was running ahead of Asante Samuel Jr. in team period.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Do you think we see Asante Samuel Jr. in this one?
So Slay actually went in the wrong direction, like in terms of practice participation too. I don't want it to be the health that this guy takes a back seat. I hope he didn't because with concussions, they can be so weird, right? Like he could have been feeling fine Wednesday and Thursday and then had some symptoms yesterday. And you don't want to see that happen, obviously. But he went in the wrong direction. If he were to not play, you're seeing Asante Samuel Jr. I think there's a chance regardless. I actually think it's more likely now than MVS. I said the opposite earlier in the week. I think it's more possible him getting a helmet. The other thing that's going to happen, I don't think we're there yet, right? But I think Asante Samuel Jr. came here with the thought like he was going to get elevated sooner rather than later. At what point does like his side start pressing for it to happen? You know what I mean? Or he's like, hey, somebody come sign me off their practice squad. I'm up getting elevated here. So
yeah, that's fair.
I think that has to be in the Steelers' minds too. If not this week, I think you got to do it by next week, or it's going to get like, why did I come here?
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I feel really good with James Pierre back there as of late. Like DB said on yesterday's Steelers afternoon drive, he's the people's corner. He's your favorite corner's favorite corner.
Dude, the numbers are stupid. Like, I understand he hasn't played like a ton, but that's why it's, I think, important to look at it on like a per snap basis. Like, you're talking about guys that have been targeted like 23 times. He has 23 targets this year. He's only allowed 10 receptions for 79 yards on that. Only 9 air yards. So 70 of that after the catch. Also, just throwing this out there, only 2 players that have at least at least 8 pass deflections, which is the number James Pierre has. Darius Williams and Dante Jackson are the only 2 that have been targeted less, with 19 and 18. Also, Dante Jackson, what a year he's having, by the way. Like, I don't know that it would have fit well in what we're trying to do here because he's like a zone-specific corner, like he ain't playing man. But and let's just give Joey Porter Jr. some love, too. Of players with at least 10 pass deflections, him and Derek Stingley Jr. are the only ones that have been targeted 25 times or less.
There you go.
So, not getting tested a bunch, still has 10 pass deflections.
Yeah. I mean,
I think he's kind of flying under the radar with how good of a year that he's had, Joey, because he doesn't have great hands, drops the ball, but he also obviously takes some penalties. But man, he's still so good. Like, I mean, he's gonna be, and he's only getting better. At the very least, he is a strong second corner if he's not your number one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking back to talking post game about some of these games, and when we talk about the secondary at times when they've looked lost, like Joey has not really been that much involved in that. Like he's still been solid most of the year. Honestly, the guy that we were just talking about, Darius Slade,
he's been a steady presence among a lot of crap going on in the secondary. A lot of moving pieces have happened on the back end of things. He's been the one kind of steadying the ship. Yeah, because I mean, we love the Jalen Ramsey move to free safety, but like it didn't go great for him against Cincinnati. And that's part of the reason that we saw this transition happen. Out of necessity, obviously, for not having another guy to do that job. But I think that we also saw he's not able to take on that assignment anymore, which is fine. Like, I don't know if there's anybody that can, to be honest with you. But, yeah, Joel said I was told Joey's mid. If he intercepted the ball, like if he got like even just 4 or 5 picks a year, you'd be he would be top 5 conversations, I think.
Yeah. Luckily, he got that Mickey Mouse pick against the Colts. If he dropped that one, I mean, he should the one against the Chargers. I don't know how. Yeah.
I don't know how he dropped.
Yeah, I think I texted you and said that this dude's hands are cement. Like
Brooklyn thinks Ramsey goes off. Probably still ain't from last week, missing time. Is this a bold prediction? Is this your bold prediction, Brooklyn? We're getting Jalen Ramsey interception in this one. Like I said, Caleb hasn't put the ball in harm's way a ton this year, but if the pressure can get there.
Speaking of, I don't even think we brought that up on last week on this week's show.
What's that?
The whole Spitgate thing.
I
don't think we even talked about it.
I'm not sure that we did.
How wild is that? By the way,
that we didn't talk about it, or that or what happened?
Both. Now we didn't talk about it, but then also you as Jamar Chase decide to spit on Jalen Ramsey, and then you deny it multiple times. But there's like
I probably
4K video.
Caught. Yeah,
4K video.
Did you see people were mad at that dude? By the way, like on the Cincinnati side of things, they were mad because that dude's from a news station in like Ohio, Cincinnati area, I guess. So they're like, how dare you rat on one of our own? It's like the dude's doing his job. Like he doesn't. Yeah. What does he owe Jamar Chase of the Cincinnati?
His video now has been watched millions of times. Why would he not put it out?
Yeah, pretty insane. And I like I'm not gonna say that like changed my opinion. I'm a fan of Jamar Chase. Like I definitely was prior to that. But that's just like one of those non-negotiables, right? Like that
Listen,
doesn't happen. You can't do that.
I listen to like at work. I have a TV in my office now, and I just put on ESPN all day, and I listen to that happen on Monday or get talked about on Monday a ton, and literally every single person that was like a former athlete and everything was saying like that is like the one thing that you is like off limits that you do not do. It's like that and below the belt are the two things that it's like an unwritten rule you just know you do not mess with. And so that's why I loved that like Tomlin on Tuesday, basically in his own way, defending what Ramsey did, just saying like whenever someone spits on you, you do what comes natural. Like
Tomlin changed his tune because after the game, he was like, that can't happen from Ramsey. Then he obviously saw the video like everybody else. And then was like, yep, you know what? Actually, just do what comes natural if somebody spits on you.
Yeah, so it's wild. And yeah, that didn't change my opinion of Jamar as like a player, but like, come on, dude. Why are you doing that? And
I would rather have had like just take your helmets off and fist fight.
Could you imagine if like you had fights like that in the NFL where you like took your helmet off? Yeah, like with the gloves. Yeah.
I mean, I'd respect it more, to be honest with you. Like, I think you can move past that easier than somebody spitting on you. They do not play again this year, but next season, I mean, nobody's forgetting about that. Look at how the Steelers played after that happened, how physical they were with him afterwards. When Joey Porter Jr. threw him to the ground after a tackle, James Pierre was chirping. Like, everybody was just chirping.
Well, and I'm sure that like Jalen said like on the field that he spit on him. So everybody on the Steelers side probably knew.
Imagine having the job of the people that were trying to, like, I don't know if the camera kept on him or he saw it all afterwards. Like, Jalen refused to go leave the field, like, for a long time. Like, he threw his gloves down. You know how they have on the sideline the way to get to the locker room down the steps.
The stairs.
And he's just, like, standing there the entire time. Threw his gloves down. He's just, like, standing there acting like he was about to start walking back onto the field. Slammed his helmet down. Like, imagine being tasked with that, trying to get him off the field after that, because he was not having it. Like he said, football's done at that point.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people on the shows during the week were saying about it too. Like that's something you got to be careful with, because like that is something that can go outside of the football field. That's not just pushing or shoving. When you spit on a dude, that can get carried into outside the stadium as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious as to next time they are in the same stadium together next season. But all right, let's get into some bold predictions that had nothing to do with Steelers and Bears. But you are right; we forgot to talk about it.
We just never talked about it. Yeah.
All right, we go back and forth, as you guys know, offense, defense, and then of course give our score predictions. I'll start. I'll go offensively. I alluded to how I feel about the running backs in this one. So I actually I was just going based off their over under yardage that I could find as betting props, because I don't know that I consider this like super bold, but I think both running backs go over 60 total yards, rushing and receiving in this one.
Yeah, you could have like Jalen get like 75 plus on the ground. And you could have Kenny get like 70 plus on through the air. Good prediction, in that you kind of have the caveat of total yardage, not just rushing yardage. So there you go. I like that. I think that's very possible. Like we talked about how much success we think they could have with their running back. So I think that's a good prediction. For me, I am going to say that the Steelers are going to have 2 tight ends with over 50 yards receiving.
Okay.
I think that the tight end usage
is going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, big day for Connor. He's gonna get a 45-yarder down the seam and then end it with a little pop pass in the end zone. But no, I like if I had to get specific with it, I really think that as much as I want to say Jonnu, we talked about this week how you almost have to like scheme him open, and we did say like maybe this game and the Bears defense opens up to some tight end screens that you could see with him specifically. But if I were to say, like, I would expect it to be Darnell and Pat out of this one. But I think that you're going to see a lot of tight end usage, and you're going to see multiple guys get some success. Big man, 311, and then the type of receiver Pat is. I think that it's a matchup mismatch, especially with those linebackers out. So yeah, two tight
Darnell
ends
has
over 50 yards receiving.
Darnell has reset his career high 2 times already this season. I think he's got a chance to do it again on Sunday. That's not my bold prediction. I'll leave it to you for the tight end stuff. But he had 4 for 67 against Cincinnati, and that stands right now as his career high. So we'll see. I definitely like it though. What are you thinking on the other side?
Defensively, I'm thinking that the Steelers are going to get to Caleb and make him uncomfortable. And then I think that TJ is going to find some success in this one. Like 6 sacks on the year so far. That is such a down year compared to what we've been used to, especially coming off of the contract. A lot of Steeler fans kind of been complaining about that. I think that he has a pick 'em up game. I think that he's going to find some success. 2+ sacks in this game for TJ Watt.
Oh wow, you're with the Alan Saunders.
Oh really?
Prediction for defense. Yeah, he said 2 or more. Yeah, so I like it. I mean, certainly, if you see at any point Cole Kmet lined up 1-on-1 and they're just giving him that, there's one right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, even Darnell Wright, if they leave him 1-on-1, I mentioned that. Like, I don't know.
And to be honest, that might be. I mean, both tight ends are so good in terms of what they can do as pass catchers too. But if you have to keep one in line, or if you have to keep a running back in to help out with that matchup, like I don't know what the plan is going to be for them. Very curious to see, but that could be how you take away some of their playmakers, is if they have to stay in and block. So I like it. We talked about Caleb holding on to the ball a bit. He has not put the ball in harm's way a ton. I think the Steelers win the turnover battle in this one. So you can almost say this plays into offense too, by at least 2 turnovers. So maybe it's 2-0, maybe it's 3-1. I don't know. But the Steelers create 2 more turnovers than the Bears do in this one, which will go a long way towards, we'll get the score prediction in a second, towards that result.
I like it. And I don't know the exact number, but I know that the stats lend themselves to whenever the Steelers win the turnover battle, they win the football game. So, and that goes.
Yeah, when I said that yesterday, DB was like, "Oh, so we already know you're picking them to win the game then." So, well, let's go there first. We'll give Brooklyn. She said 20-10 Steelers. Ramsey, P. Queen both get interceptions. Another big game from out Washington. Oh, that's right. TJ can pass JJ in sacks this weekend, which is actually, I think, why Allen predicted that. But JJ will be on the call with Ian Eagle, which the Steelers 4-0 when that's the case. They've been getting a ton of Steelers games, and we're 5-0 on CBS, 1-4 on every other network though. So back on CBS.
Do you think that there's anything CBS is playing as to like getting JJ into the games that TJ is calling the games that JJ or TJ is playing in? Do you think that there's any behind the scenes?
Like there
CBS
wasn't. I didn't feel like this was the case last year.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, obviously, without knowing. It's just complete speculation. I would say no, though. I just think it's been. I mean, it certainly
worked itself out that way,
and I think he's done a great job. Like,
yeah, I actually like JJ Watt as a color guy,
and Ian Eagle's probably. I mean, Kevin Harlan's my guy. That's my goat. But like Ian Eagle, I think is very good as well.
Yeah, I enjoy that tandem.
Evan Washburn on the sidelines. All clean kick game, by the way. Like I've obviously seen him at Acrisure a few times. I mean, the fits are awesome, but really I think he puts an emphasis on the sneaks.
Yeah.
Joel's prediction, nice. 24-14 Steelers. I'm assuming that's Pierre gets an interception, TJ gets 2 sacks, Pat scores on a goal line shovel pass. Oh, we haven't seen one of those in a while. Also, we always talk about his success for Cincinnati. Are we forgetting Monday Night Football? Pat Freiermuth, rookie season, 2 touchdowns against the Chicago Bears.
I am forgetting his rookie season.
That was his only other 2 touchdown game before.
So that was when Ben Roethlisberger was the quarterback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of his best career games. Maybe his best career game prior to Thursday night against Cincinnati a month ago came against the Chicago Bears. So I like the prediction, Joe, obviously. But all right, I gotta go first on this side of things. I think I don't know that the score is going to reflect how I feel like it looks. What I mean by that is I feel probably the second most confident I do about a Steelers result, other than the Browns game earlier this season. The Steelers are going to win this football game, in my opinion. I think it's going to be by a score of 26-20. But again, I feel like actually watching it, it's going to look a lot different than what that says. Like maybe the Bears score late. Maybe we get another one of those. I really like the Steelers' chances in this one. They exercise some demons, to Cliff's point here. Steelers 1-12 against the Bears in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, 1-12 is not great, but I think that changes too. I really like the Steelers going into Chicago and winning this one. I agree with you though, where I don't think that the eye test is going to necessarily match what the score might say. So I'm going to say the Steelers win this one too. Fairly similar score to you though, and I had this in my head before we started recording. But I think the Steelers are going to win this one 24-20. It's going to be closer than probably a lot of the eye test of what is actually happening on the field is going to say. But I think the Steelers take care of business and get out of Chicago with a W.
So I don't remember all of your picks. I'm 5-5 on the season in terms of picking Steelers games. So like I've missed some that they've won. Like, so I picked them to beat Seattle. They lost that one. Picked them to lose to Minnesota. They won that one. Picked them to beat Cincinnati. Lost that one. Picked them to lose to the Colts, and they won that one. Picked them to beat the Chargers. Lost that one. So like there's a lot of differences in there, but it's led me to be 5-5. The team is 6-4. I'm 5-5.
I'm trying to add it up real quick. 3, 3-4, 3-5, 3-6, and 4-6. Yeah, I think it's because we've picked, I think, about the same most of the year. The one game that
Packers.
I picked differently was the Packers.
Yeah. Brooklyn brought up a good point, probably the best point that I've seen. Zach, make sure your bold predictions are the opposite of what we need to happen.
Well, don't worry. He didn't predict anything with James Pierre, so he's going to get a pick.
Yeah. And to be honest, my first thought about this game was tight end centric. So I went with the running backs.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm worse in the score predictions as far as picking the actual games. But I feel like if we went back and look at each episode, I feel like I'm slightly ahead in our bold predictions.
Probably. Yeah. Or at least close. Yeah. Closer.
Yeah.
Dude, but like the Jaylen Warren one last week, are we serious? Like, he doesn't try to Antonio Brown, that defender. He probably gets 3 more yards there. But it ended up being a 35-yard run. Because my bold prediction was he'd have his longest run of the season. So he needed to have it be longer than 37 yards. That run was 35. And then he decided to try to high hurdle a dude standing.
But yeah, I would love to. I wonder if Jaylen Warren was asked about that. I would love to see like his mentality of like in that moment, like when he's in the air and the guy is still standing there. He's like, oh, I screwed up.
All right. Good stuff. Brooklyn said you have a pass. You're okay to go with the gut. I got to go against myself, which is fair. We've seen it play out. Yeah. All right. We appreciate you guys for being here. Be sure to drop your predictions as well if you have not already. If you're watching this back, be sure to do so. Regardless, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you were watching, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe. If you're listening somewhere else, know there's been a lot of issues this week with Spotify. Megaphone's been working on some stuff, so hopefully that's all got itself ironed out. We were getting comments over and over again about Steelers Afternoon Drive. We have no control over it. It's on Megaphone's side. I know they were working on some things, so hopefully that got itself figured out. But yeah, leave us a 5-star review and subscribe over there. Hit us up everywhere at Around the 412. And time winding down for our Rocking Around the 412 Christmas Drive. So for those that have donated already, thank you so much. We appreciate you for making this already the biggest year for us in terms of amount of kids that will have been impacted. But let's keep it rolling. See how many we can get to. You'll be eligible to win some prizes, Pat Fryermuth autographs, some Penguin tickets, some of our merch, some Game Changer stuff. All that stuff going to be included. So we appreciate you guys. Hopefully you'll be around for next week's Steelers show. We'll be talking about a win. Oh, we got to figure out when we're recording too. Thanksgiving week. But either way, we'll definitely be putting out an episode. So do that and then join us again next Saturday to talk about Steelers and Bills, hopefully coming off a big win against the Bears. Until then, for Smitty, for Tyler, this has been another Steelers Saturday Sit Down, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.